Now joining us is Dr. Harlan Kluti, who's a local governance expert who will be extending this conversation with us. Dr. Kluti, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this afternoon. Now, we know that the city of Tshwane has had its fair share of troubles over the past couple of years, but surely the DA, excuse me, together with the multi-party coalition within that region, has done some kind of a turnaround in getting the city of Tshwane into where it is today. Is this motion of no confidence something that really should be happening at this point in time in terms of a turnaround of the city of Tshwane?
Good afternoon, Katlego, and good afternoon to the viewers. I think this is the first shots to local government elections 2026. Whoever controls local government can show the electorate locally that they are delivering. And so the ANC would be very eager to get their hands back onto the levers of power. One would have thought, with the government of national unity, if we are really serious about nation building, really serious about local government, about making sure that we deliver, that government of national unity model also filters down to local government. I'm on record as saying at the 2021 local government election, where nobody gets an outright, the two biggest losers should have the maturity to get into the room, and that is the ANC and the DA. And one still hopes that sanity prevails, that the ANC and the DA can sit around the table, hammer out some sort of an agreement that would benefit the citizens of Tshwane. Because the reality is, once you remove the mayor, then you have new MMCs, member of the mayoral committee, and then the next they go for the administration. Get a new city manager, get new directors, etc., like we've seen happening in the Tshwane municipality about 2 weeks ago.
I mean, you make mention of the government of national unity and the possibilities of what would have been perfect in terms of having that sort of relationship filter down from national, provincial and to local municipality. Should the ANC go with Action SA in this motion of no confidence, do you think it will have any impact on the national relationship between the ANC and the DA in the GNU?
Look, in politics, they say you don't have permanent enemies. You only have interests. What is interesting, that Herman Mashaba said, not in 300 years, not in 1,000,000 years that he'll ever work with the ANC. And so Action SA, I think they are reading the tide, looking at the 2026 local government election and considering where best to position themselves. And so the ANC has placed itself as the father or the mother of the government of national unity. And so any government without the DA, for example, in the Tshwane, could lead to instability. Because you remember that for the last 2 years, they have managed to, through a definite program, trying to stabilize local government. And so what one hopes is an inclusive government system that includes all the parties. But certainly, this could rock relations between the ANC and the DA nationally as well.
Now, if we talk about governance, Doctor, how does this process of this motion of no confidence work in the context of local governance? And what are the procedural requirements and just the legal considerations around the political implications involved in such a motion, particularly in relation to the mayor's leadership, accountability and governance performance?
Look, it's the council that elects a mayor and the office bearers. And one would then have, for example, if they go to a vote now, they need a simple majority of 50% plus one to have the mayor removed, and they'll probably go for the speaker. I think Action SA would want certain positions. And then, like I said, then it's a scrambling of who gets mayoral member portfolios. Because once you control those portfolios, you control resources. And it's about showing the electorate that you are delivering, that you are in power, and that you're on the stage, and that you are in the newspapers, and that you are seen to be delivering. That's why I said in the beginning, I think this is nothing else but the first shot at what we're going to see in the next 2 years as we prepare for local government elections in 2026. In any case, if you look at 2016, we had 27 coalition governments. In 2021, we had almost more than 70. I think in 2026, we'll have more than 100 of these local coalitions. And what the legislation before Parliament is now is that when no party gets a majority, we will then be forced to go into executive committee system, which is a more inclusive system where nobody gets 50% plus one. And it also places a limit on motions of no vote of no confidence, which in many cases were just frivolous votes of no confidence to ensure that you replace one party with another, like we've seen in Johannesburg, for example. And so what democracy starts at the door of local municipality, what we desperately need in this country is a consensus about how do we ensure inclusive growth locally. If we talk about a national dialogue, how do we talk about a local dialogue, about consensus, about moving forward to address the issues of poverty, unemployment, and inequality?
And with that said, I mean, with the consensus rather around inclusive growth, how can this vote of no confidence, and I think a lot of people have been asking this in terms of the impact on the stability, the effectiveness, and the legitimacy of the municipal governance in Tshwane? Just talk to us about the delivery of essential services, the public trust as well as the democratic principles in local making decision in terms of that process, and how really it's going to impact the people of Tshwane.
No, definitely. It takes a while for any government to stabilize. Now, like I've explained to you, if you have a new mayor, the new mayor will come with his new agenda, possibly with his new staff. The mayor could say, you know what, I don't trust the city manager to deliver on our mandate. Let's get rid of them, like we've seen in the Tshwane municipality, for example. If you have new members of the mayoral committee, they could come with their own agenda and their own staff. And so all of this has a consequence for administrative instability. If you've got political instability, that inevitably spills over to the administration. And the service delivery really happens on the operational arm with the city manager and his team, making sure that the promises made by the electorate, that gets delivered. We do have an integrated development plan, which is the pact with the community. And so there shouldn't be much difference. I think it's about the priorities. We have an adjustment budget coming up in January, for example, and that could be, the government could have different priorities. If a new government gets elected this afternoon in Tshwane, anything can happen in politics. But what we definitely need is stability. What we've seen in the first 100 days of the GNU is stability and opportunity for new brooms to sweep clean. But it takes time. Even 100 days is too short. And so it will take time. And just before we know it, we will have to canvass again these political parties to convince the electorate to support them in the 2026 election. So this is politicking at its best. And what this country and the citizens of Tshwane desperately need is the maturity of the ANC and the DA, who are the two biggest losers in the Tshwane municipality.
Lastly, Doc, do you think there would be any opportunities in such a motion of no confidence?
Opportunities for politicians, yes. I mean, the stakes are high. If Villiers is removed and a new mayor comes in, the stakes are so high. And so what we need is stronger citizenry, I think. Citizens' formations to come together. I think this is also a cry for locals, for citizens' organizations to organize themselves and to say, this is not what we need. We want stable government that is inclusive. So the two biggest losers must get together. The ANC and the DA must get their act together and then decide, almost like a pragmatic approach. We need a pragmatic approach to solve the complex issues of inequality, poverty, and unemployment in our country. So the opportunity is there to deliver to the citizens, but citizens must also participate. We are now in the phase of co-creating, where citizens cannot be spectators. They have to be active participants in the affairs of governance.
Active citizenry is certainly very important. Thank you for that. That's Dr. Harlan Clutie, a local governance expert, speaking to us there off the brink of the